Voyager 1 has wandered into the cosmic abyss, drifting farther from Earth than any creation humanity has ever dared to send. It is a ghost ship from the 20th century, an ancient machine powered by the dying embers of plutonium, whispering across unimaginable distances with a voice fainter than a snowflake falling in a storm. Launched in 1977, built with technology older than the microwave ovens in your kitchen, Voyager was never supposed to last this long. It was meant to be a fleeting visitor to the gas giants, a scout, not a survivor. Its mission was simple but historic, to send back the first close-up images of Jupiter and Saturn, capturing the titanic storms and swirling mysteries of worlds no human had ever seen up close. But Voyager didn't stop. After fulfilling its prime directive, it kept going, venturing past Uranus, past Neptune, past the edge of the Sun's magnetic reach and into the yawning chasm of interstellar space. Today, Voyager 1 floats over 24 billion kilometers from Earth, a distance so staggering it takes nearly 23 hours for a radio signal to reach it, and another 23 for its ghostly reply to arrive. Each time it speaks, it does so from a place no probe has ever seen, outside the heliosphere, beyond the warm breath of the sun, in the silence between stars. And yet, against every prediction, it endures. Powered by a nuclear heart and guided by a computer system with less memory than a single photograph on your phone, Voyager 1 continues to function. It stores its data on magnetic tape. It transmits signals at speeds slower than a 1990s dial-up modem. It is a time capsule of obsolete engineering, and yet, it still reaches us. But then, something changed. In the spring of 2025, Voyager 1 did something no one expected. It spoke, but in a language no one could understand. The transmission came in as scheduled, arriving after its usual 46-hour round trip through the void. But when NASA's engineers examined the data, they froze. One of the spacecraft's most vital systems, the attitude articulation and control subsystem, was sending data that made no sense. The system that tells Voyager where it's pointing claimed the spacecraft was facing in directions that defied physics. The numbers weren't just wrong. They were impossible. It was as if Voyager believed it had spun out of reality. And yet, every other part of the probe was fine. The antenna was locked onto Earth. The scientific instruments were transmitting normally. The power systems were stable. Everything looked perfect, except the system that told Voyager where it was. And that system had gone mad. For weeks, NASA engineers pored over the data. Was it a radiation burst? Aging circuits finally crumbling under the pressure of deep space? Or was it something else? A growing chorus online had a different theory. What if Voyager had encountered something? NASA denied it, of course. But they couldn't explain it either. Eventually, a breakthrough came. The problem wasn't a hardware failure. It wasn't even cosmic radiation. It was something far stranger. Voyager had begun routing its data through a computer module that had been shut down over 40 years ago. A system long dead, resurrected without command. That module was decommissioned. Disconnected. Buried in code like a digital fossil. And yet, Voyager had reached back into its own past. And spoken through. NASA issued new commands, told Voyager to switch back to a working module, and like that, the madness stopped. The data returned to normal. But the questions didn't. Voyager 1 doesn't have artificial intelligence. It doesn't make choices. It obeys instructions. That's all. And yet, it had made a decision. You see, Voyager was always more than a machine. Attached to its body is a golden disc, a time capsule created by Carl Sagan and his team. Etched into it are greetings in 55 languages, music from across the world, diagrams of human biology, a map to our planet, and the cries of a baby. We sent it into space like a message in a bottle, cast into a cosmic ocean we barely understand. But not everyone thought it was wise. Stephen Hawking warned that this message could be dangerous, that if something hostile found it, they'd know exactly how to reach us. And now, decades later, that very probe begins to behave in ways no one expected. Not just a glitch. Not just noise. A shift. A change in behavior. NASA fixed the anomaly. But the silence after was different. According to insiders, Voyager had been acting strangely for months, tiny anomalies that didn't trigger alarms, but built a picture too weird to ignore. Microsecond signal delays. Interference that didn't match solar flares. Subtle patterns too strange for chance. And so, some began to ask. What if this wasn't a malfunction? What if it was an answer? In space, unpredictability is the enemy. But what if it's also a sign? A signal that the darkness is not empty. And that we are no longer alone. Voyager 1 sails onward, beyond the warm cradle of the sun, into a realm where starlight grows cold and gravity forgets its anchor. There is no more solar wind here, no planetary pull, no familiar tug of home. Only the void. Vast. Black. Ancient. And yet, not empty. In 2026, a series of faint electromagnetic murmurs reached Voyager's plasma wave sensor. Not random. Not solar. Something else. At first, the data was dismissed. Static. Cosmic background noise. But then came the pattern. Regular. Repeating. Structured. It pulsed like a heartbeat, one Voyager had never heard before. The pulse didn't match any known cosmic source, not a pulsar, not a quasar, not even the low hum of a black hole's accretion disk. It was organized. Almost mechanical. As if it were a beacon, or a whisper. NASA's Deep Space Network strained to verify it. The signal was weak, distant, and inconsistent. But it was there. Something out there was speaking. In a language of silence and light. The signal came from beyond the Oort cloud, from a region no probe has ever entered. Somewhere between the stars, Voyager had passed through an invisible threshold. The magnetic field around it shifted slightly. Not violently. Just altered. As if it had entered a chamber. A room without walls. Then came the anomaly in starlight. The onboard star tracker, which helps Voyager orient itself by recognizing constellations, began to see something new. A false star. Not catalogued. Not known.